Namaste. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to, I get this right, Psychic Frank's Mystery School. Yeah, it's glad to be here, and thank you for all my local San Francisco fellow citizens and people on YouTube. I love when people I see the numbers climb on my YouTube. So yeah, thanks for support and boy, things couldn't be more intense. We start this month, November. Today's November 1st. I'm here the 1st and the 3rd Thursdays at 5 o'clock. And then Haney, this really nice guy named Matt Haney, who's running for District 8 Supervisor here in San Francisco. And he's going to be on right after me with Denise Dory. Her show starts at 6. So stick around if you're locally watching this on Channel 76 right now. But most people see me at 7:30 on Saturday nights on Channel 29. That's when most people see me on the street and tell me. But my shows are on YouTube. Okay, so let's get started. Let's get started. I brought my cards and oh, victory! Yeah. Okay. So the election day. What's going on election day, November 6th? There's three big events, and they start on uh, election day, the 6th. On the 6th, uh, election day, Uranus enters Aries. Now, the planet Uranus rules Aquarius, and on election day of 2016, nobody saw early in the wee hours of the morning Mars entered Aquarius, and that's why I believe put Trump in office. But now Mars today is on this full moon, the 6th. Uh, Mars will be 25 degrees Aquarius again in Aquarius. Isn't that interesting? Every 2 years, Mars is in Aquarius. And then the new moon, the Scorpio new moon, happens at 8:02 a.m. on Wednesday. When we get a whole new Congress, the blue tsunami, and then on the 8th, Jupiter enters Sagittarius. Now it was a year ago when Jupiter, from this date, Jupiter every year changes signs. So roughly around a year ago, in November of 2017, uh, Jupiter entered Scorpio, and that was exactly the signature of that event was Weinstein, the sexual abuse stuff. Yeah, so and Scorpio is all about sexuality and all that stuff. So I thought that was interesting. So now we're poised to oh yeah, and how could I have forgotten the big shift in the axle nodes? On the 6th, the north node goes from 0 degrees Leo opposite south node Aquarius. We'll explain what that was all about just to recap. And then we start with the 18 months of Cancer North Node 29, South Node 29 Capricorn. The North Node is the Dharma, where we must go. The South Node is the Karma. And it was actually January 21st of 2010, the North Node was opposite in Capricorn, and the South Node was in Cancer, and that's when Citizens United, Supreme Court's passed Citizens United. So I believe we're going to see a whole new paradigm change now. This is amazing. Yeah, Donald Trump's days are very much coming to an end. And what's going to happen now after the Congress takes over with democracy and hopefully the Senate too, we're going to see subpoenas fly out. Subpoenas. We're going to see the Trumps in orange jumpsuits. Oh, it's going to be wonderful. Oh, I'm really, I've been waiting since the day went into office for this all to happen. Because being a proud member of the LGBT, I guess I don't like the Q at the end, but I guess I got to accept it's part of it. The LGBTQ community. That word just doesn't sit right with me. I don't think I'm queer. I think everybody else is queer. I'm normal. So that's a nasty word, queer. Um, it's interesting. If anybody knows me, have been watching the show for a while. There's no love lost with Ronald Reagan. Yeah, I'll be 70 in a couple of weeks. Next time you see me, I'll have had my 70th birthday. I'm excited about that. Uh, yeah, vegetarian, vegans live 120, so I'm going to be here for a while, folks. Uh, so, and isn't it interesting how that horrible Ronald Reagan, the worst thing about what he did, well, he did a lot of horrible things, was this trickle down, that sadistic joke of trickle down economics, which led, I believe, to, and the whole celebrity presidency, which led to this whole Citizens United and money out of control. And so isn't that interesting? And there's a book by Rick Wilson, who's a Republican strategist, the old Republicans that were nowhere near like Trumpism now. And he wrote a book that's interesting called Everything Trump Touches Dies. And at the last page, next to the last page, he has a paragraph from Ronald Reagan. And I know Ronald Reagan didn't have enough brains to write this, but he had, he did recite it. One of his writers who had a brain obviously wrote this, because I don't think Ronald Reagan had the wherewithal to write his name. Anyway, it says, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way we can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-thought lessons of how in their lifetime must be done the same. And if you and I do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children's children that what it was once like to be when America was free. Yeah, defend it and then hand it to them with the well-thought lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. Yeah, as I said, they want people to be ignorant. They don't want to teach civics in school anymore. And Ronald Reagan was the original bait and switch con man. And he put the sadistic, sick joke called trickle-down economics, which led to Citizens United. So, people still think he's a saintly guy. He was a monster. And he spent the last year of his life, they say, raking leaves out of an empty pool. He was totally, Alzheimer's there. And then I thought I wanted to read a few sentences from the Gettysburg Address. By Abraham Lincoln. He said, the word will little note. This is, I left off the beginning. It's a small little passage, but really powerful just to get the message of where we are right now. I mean, really, democracy is this close to being flushed down the tube. There's no way that it's not going to be a blue tsunami, but just as a nightmare, if Donald Trump by some way got any kind of a win coming up on this election day, 2018 midterm election, we're gone. It's over. It's all she wrote. Freedom is down the tubes. That's how close we are to it. It says, the world will little note, this is Abraham Lincoln saying, nor long remember what we say here. This is at the ground at Gettysburg, where the ground was soaked with blood. It can never forget what they did here. It is for the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task of remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they here, he said here a lot, gave the last full measure of devotion. They gave their lives, that we here rightly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. And that's where we are right now, because right now we got a government of the rich, by the powerful, for the wealthy. And it ain't working, Corporations, they're getting out zillion-dollar bailouts and people's raises. People haven't gotten it's just that, it's all kamikaze, whatever they say. It's out of control. So please vote. And if you're in San Francisco, just keep in mind when you're seeing all these ads, these aren't like, St. Anthony's Dining Room contribution ads. These are from rich techs now. So every time you see these people running for supervisors and all these things, read what you get in the mail on the bottom in small print. They're all sponsored by these very, very people, corporations who aren't people. If they're, I want to see one executed, then I'll believe corporations are. There's a lot of healing. We're going to get to remember, the planets don't make things happen. They simply reflect what's going on. And we've got some paradigm changes equivalent to the 1500s when the world wasn't flat. And Galileo, during the Inquisition, people were called, were hurt, tortured, cruelty. The United States, Supreme Court. So let's hope now with the North Node switched, and that we'll get rid of Citizens United. I mean, that's gotta. And then they give it these catchy names, and to make it sound, it should be tyrants. Disembowering, whatever they call it. Okay, yes, okay. So what happens on the 6th is the Scorpio New Moon. Now, new moons, we always have the option of pressing the reset button. But this month, November here, we started off just last night, the last day of Halloween, the last day of October. Venus went retrograde out of Scorpio, where she's been for the last 5 months, and she spends the entire month, starting November 1st, retrograde 29 degrees Libra. And at the very last day of November, she will be 28 direct. She goes direct 25 degrees on the 16th of November. So look for 29 to 28 and all those from 25 to 28, 29 Libra on your chart. That's where Venus is doing her thing now. Okay, so Mars, Jupiter, Uranus. It's not choppy month, let's put it mildly. Mars, energizing Mars, expansive Jupiter, lightning bolts of revelations that liberate us, Uranus, and the transiting north nodal axis to Cancer changes from North Node Leo, South Node Aquarius. On my last show, I talked about the November 7th, the October 24th full moon, and I said the Taurus moon will conjunct Uranus opposite Venus and the Sun in Scorpio. I said exploding stagnations. This full moon is the peak point, and look what we had, all those potential explosions, and actually there was some explosions in front of a black people's home, and they were hurt. I think they were killed. Yeah, so there was, things are exploding stagnations. Yeah, what's been stagnated now is no doubt about it. There's no one, even there were good Republicans a long time ago, believe it or not, in spite of Reagan. Yeah, so what's happening now, we are at the, as Oprah said, and I don't believe I'm quoting Oprah because she's not my favorite person because she's ignorant about cannabis. I wish she would close her big mouth on that. Otherwise, I'm okay with Oprah. I just don't. She's not a healer. I am. She hasn't seen what I've seen. I know. And people like me. Here in San Francisco, we got to get into harm reduction. This mayor we got here, London Breed, don't know nothing. What she doesn't know about addictions and heroin addiction and recovery and cannabis is a lot. And yet she's making, God, she's got to be stopped. Boy, that San Francisco Bay could talk, man. It could tell some stories about how many votes went in there, But anyway, get back here, Frank. Well, I'm in San Francisco, and the city's, it's under siege. I mean, the greed, it's like a war zone. You can't spit without going some high-rise or condos. What is something on fire? What is the rush? They got to start 4:30 in the morning until like 8 at night. It's like every part of the city's under siege. I'm not living under the. I know what's going on. But why? What's so fast? Greed. The greed is palatable. You know, people, you can't take nothing with you but your soul. You know, the sciences has tried madly, expensively, and dissecting every. I mean, they've gotten every part of the human body has been sliced paper thin, and they've examined it. No soul, no sign of a soul. But actually, there's the paradox. So your soul is the, and that's why care of the soul is so important. Read your Thomas More, care of the soul guy. He uh, 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 when you go after non-material gifts like compassion, forgiveness, could go on and on. You're equanimity of mind, not letting your mind, but not chasing. A lot of people have a worry Jones. So many good friends of mine, you know, I'm realizing. Have a real addiction to, I could see, just like a junkie would be banging the cotton. They'd be okay for a month or so, and then they just go off, and something will send them off, and I just take a walk. I can't be around them because I'm realizing how they're getting their fix, their toxic fix of poison. Anger is a powerful emotion, and it's to make us move, but then we got to let go of anger. You know, I do it all the time. So, you know, it's interesting. Jupiter goes into Sag the day after election day. Sagittarius is all about truth. I think that's interesting. So for a whole year now, freedom of the press is all about Jupiter and Sag. And then we got Saturn and Pluto still in Capricorn for quite a while. Saturn another year, Pluto until 2023 or something. Actually, 2024, 2025, Pluto will enter Aquarius, and that's not that far away. So we're going into the late numbers of Pluto in Capricorn. So Pluto, nothing resembles what it used to look like. And we were born, the United States of America was born with Pluto on July 7th, 1776. We were born with Pluto 27 degrees Capricorn. And is morality, ethics. Yeah, so isn't that interesting? Because we got the most unethical, immoral, vulgarian. I can't think of anything to say except I want to see him in an orange jumpsuit. Yeah, Bannon was saying that if the blue tsunami comes, there'll be a civil war. I don't think there will be, because Bannon can't even get 25 people, and nobody's listening to him anymore. And I don't believe in polls. I won't take part in a poll, but I believe the polls are way off. They're underestimating what a tsunami this is going to be. Many people are getting it now, you know, that I love Oprah the other day was talking about how people had, you know, it was not, take advantage of this gift we have to vote. It's the most powerful thing we have. Yeah, so it's time now with what's overpowering, you know, as far as restrictions, because all this Capricorn energy is restriction now. So see, the Cancer North Node, cuddly Cancer, we're war weary. After 16, 17 years of this war, war climate, and thousands of people lost, you know, lives for oil. It's something. Yeah, Cancer, the Cancer Capricorn axis is we got to go for the Cancer, unseen forces behind the scenes at work. And also, you know, there's a book, it's so powerful. I'm not through with it yet, but it's Dr. Mario Martinez, The Mind-Body Code. It just came out, and it's really interesting because he talks how we're culturally taught. I'll just read the chapter, one sentence in chapter 1. It's really a powerful book. 5 portals of wellness. We experience our cultural history through the biosymbols we create, and we communicate biosymbols with the implicit and explicit language. We say things like, I can't stomach that, my heart is not in it, I want peace of mind, and many other expressions representing mind-body biosymbols. We use it to convey these images from our need for safety to our quest for spirituality. Oh, yeah, we're going here. But that's not what I wanted to read. Okay, here we go. Biocognition confirms what you may have already intuitively suspected, that a universal truth, semicolon, your cultural beliefs can make you ill and rob you of your joy. You may simply have lacked the scientific evidence or social support you need in order to know this for sure. And this book will give it to you. Thumbs now. I was trained in a world where geologists to study the pathways of aging rather than wellness of growing older. You know, we had the slaughter of the Jewish community, which was an atrocity. It was the saddest thing. But you know, I looked it up. There's only two religions: the Jewish religion and the Mormons, who have the chutzpah, the brass balls, whatever you want to call themselves the chosen one. Now, please don't think I'm anti Semitic. I've actually got Jewish blood in me. I've done a DNA test. But, you know, you can't go on for thousands of years calling yourself the chosen ones and expect people to say, okay, we're crap. We're the chopped chicken livers left that's going into the compost heap. You know, no, think of the words that come out of your mouth. You know, religions, there's no hell, you know, religion is for people who are afraid to go to hell. Spirituality is for people who have already been to hell. I've been to hell. I'm back. Watch out, I'm back. So please don't think I'm being anti-Jewish. I just want the Jewish faith and the Mormons for that. So, you know, lay off with the chosen one. You're not winning friends that way. And, you know, I heard this woman from Pittsburgh the other day talking about their traditions. They call these traditions. What they're doing is what any healer would be taught who's a good healer. You learn something really interesting. No good at all can ever come from bonding with a wound. I can't tell you how many times I'm on the phone with someone and I'll say, well, let's not bond with a wound here, you know, because I know that no good can come from the bonding with a wound. So you could, you know, maybe the Jewish people found a loophole where they don't, you know, they're remembering walking through the desert for, I don't know about the Jewish faith. All I know is growing up as a kid in an Italian family. And by the way, I'm not Italian either. This year's been full of revelations for me. That you know, it was not a Jewish-friendly climate. When I was a little kid, I remember my first things I learned were like Jewish people were banned, and it goes back and forth, you know. So we got to stop this now, and we all have to start thinking things through. If you're going to have a religion based on victims, you know what? You're going to be a victim. You could call it remembering and honoring your past, but that's BS, and you know it. You know, any organized religion that's against homosexuality is on my poop list, so I have no use for that. You know, I smoke my religion, as most people know, and it's called cannabis. You know, I just saw on the news today little children who are benefiting from cannabis now, but so for for a long time now. These kids would have to suffer seizures all day long and live these tortured lives and not being used. But now the pharmaceutical companies making money on making medicine with cannabis. So I don't think the parents can actually give their kids cannabis, but they can give them pills with cannabis derivatives in it. The greed. We're at the end of the Piscean, the age of the Piscean age, and we're at the dawning of the age of Aquarius, will be upon us. By 24, 25. It'll be a whole new paradigm now. But we don't have to wait that long. It's just next week. We're like 6 days away from Election Day. And all these planetary activities now. I've been waiting since he got in. It was like a few days after Trump got in office, you know, the artificial president there. I did some studying and I realized it was Mars in Aquarius, and now Mars is back in Aquarius and he's going out. Oh yeah, all these New York judges now are just waiting to get the Trump kids on all these. Yeah, they're going down, and I love it. There's no, but you know, be excited. Just like stupidity and ignorance is contagious, as we're seeing. So is excitement. Get enthused. Be enthused. Yeah, it says the Scorpio New Moon trines, Neptune and Pisces, that go in last month. Yeah. The Scorpio New Moon naturally hones in on typical Scorpio themes, such as deeper experience of feelings, good and bad. We may relish the highs and then sink into the lows. I don't like this woman so much. I like Emily Trinkus better, So we cannot talk about Scorpio without mentioning its ruler. I'm reading from the Mountain Astrologer, by the way. Good magazine. Good magazine. Yeah, last couple of years were rough. We lost Donna Cunningham and a whole lot of really good people who were contributors to this. And now, we haven't really, no offense, Diana Collis, you're okay, but you're no Donna Cunningham or Emily Trinkus. I don't know why they don't get Emily Trinkus back. We cannot talk about Scorpio when mentioning its modern rulership by Pluto, the planet that the Sun and Moon happen to be sextiling during this lunation. Power struggles may be resolved. Yeah, with Pluto. Oh yeah, I brought my cards. Let's get some cards. I brought my tarot cards. Yeah, be good to your soul. Care for your soul. As I said, to be one of the chosen, simply choose yourself. Every time, you think of that, the people who call themselves the chosen ones. The Afghanis like their hash. That whole the whole Muslim community is very anti-alcohol, but they see cannabis, hashish, as a way to talk to God. That's a big. You want to break down walls. Let's get off of this ignorant hatred. I've seen so many people die because they'd rather die or go through chemo and then die rather than experiment with cannabis. We were born with cannabinoid receptors in our body. I don't believe, I think you have a responsibility if you're going to use cannabis not to drink alcohol and take pills, but that's me. Religion is simply the point, the way. Hell is just an invention of the Catholic Church, and I don't know what the Jews or the Mormons teach, but I know that they do call themselves the chosen ones, which just, no matter how you say it, it's wrong. Nobody's chosen. We're all to be one of the chosen. Look in the mirror and just. I always tell people, when you're walking down the street and you see your reflection, say to yourself, "You the man, Frank," or "You the woman, Mary Beth." E. Cummins, they talk about, this whole thing about Jupiter and Sag. It's all about meaning and ethics and leading a meaningful life. And on one of my shows recently, I talk about this book about man's search for ultimate meaning by Viktorefrankl, a psychological exploration into the religious quest. And it's all about leading a meaningful life. But see, the thing is, people want to have a meaningful life right off the bat in their 20s or whatever. Your thing is to just care for your soul, and then you look back and you realize, wow, my life does have meaning. To paraphrase what Rockville once remarked with regard to the effect that separation has on love, one might say that just as a small fire is extinguished by the storm while a large fire is enhanced by it, likewise a weak faith is weakened by predicaments and catastrophes, whereas a strong faith is strengthened by them. Remember, if you're afraid, it's because you have more faith in evil than your higher power, a.k.a. God, By the way, I believe I'm friends with Jesus, the original. I don't believe this people killing all these people and then praying to this Jesus who never existed, who was the opposite of the Jesus I know exists, who was, a pacifist. Oh, yeah. Finding purpose through passion. Honesty, respect, responsibility, fairness, compassion. Our possessions, simply stated, are our curiosities, those things we care most deeply about, whatever form they take. Passions are identified by their vitality. They are alive, and when we feel them, our passion moves us into action in the world. Moreover, a passion doesn't quit, but keeps reoccurring in our thinking and experiences. And then David Brooks says, we are fragile when we don't know what our purpose is. Think of that. When we haven't thrown ourselves with abandon into a social role, when we haven't committed ourselves to certain people, when we feel like a swimmer on an ocean with no edge. I remember exactly when it was, when Pluto was on my sun, it was 96, 97. My dog died of 14 years. My best buddy, two of my best buddies, Kathy Acker and Richard, it was a rough 6 months, and I was devastated. I stopped doing everything, and that's when I got involved with the cannabis community and started really getting away from doing corporate work and working with the people. You know, the people who really, that's what, you know, if you watch my shows over the last 9 years, I talk about the years, you know, how do you get to Carnegie Hall, practice, practice, practice. And it was my reading for roaches. My reading for roaches years. Now, how do you get good at anything like this? Do it. Readings, readings, readings. This is standing on solid ground. We are all fragile when we don't know what our purpose is, when we haven't thrown ourselves with abandon, like I said, into a social role, when we haven't committed ourselves to a certain, like I'm committed to not drinking alcohol. Every morning I renew that commitment. When we feel like a swimmer in an ocean with no edge, saving the world, saving ourselves. And then Bill Mueller was interviewing the late Joseph Campbell, the whole myth guy there. And Moyer said, unlike the classical heroes, we're not going on our journey to save the world, but to save ourselves. And then Campbell said, and in doing that, you save the world. You remember, you got, the Buddhists say, you got two parts of yourself, the one that is love and compassion, and the part of you that is not, it needs love and compassion. So before you do anything, you got to give yourself love and compassion. Most people's serenity and love and compassion for themselves goes along as long as they're doing, you know, things are going right. But the minute a catastrophe comes along, it's like, what am I going to do? They're incongruent. And these are most like Jewish religion, Mormons. I think it's like a protection racket, you know. If I give so much money to the church or this synagogue or that, then they'll cover my ass and I won't suffer. I don't understand it. I don't understand organized religion. Since Mars in Aquarius is configured with Venus, we can be sure that individual desires will be dealt with, but we must wait on... See, I don't like this woman, so I'm not going to talk about her anymore. Let's get back to anything else we got. Oh, yeah, I said I was going to do the cards. Okay, 1 second, and we will get to that. Oh, yeah, I love this about healing. You know, I was watching Whitey Bulger the other day, and they had it on MSNBC or CNN or something, and they had a clip of a show coming up where it's a very, you gotta, if you blink, you'll miss it, but it's an old interview because he's been in custody for quite a while. And he ratted out on all the FBI that he had paid off. Yeah, it was a real bad thing. And he was evil to the core, you know, and at one part, he's talking to this, being interviewed, and he's kind of relaxed. He's in a prison suit, and he's talking, and he's this smile on his face when he's explaining how he killed this guy. Yeah, Johnny Depp played him. A lot of people have played him, and he's people begging, no, 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 you know, or, oh, he's just a horrible man. So, yeah, he had his tongue cut out in prison just the other day and his eyes taken out. Yeah, he was a snitch. That's what they do to snitches in prison. But anyway, this was a couple of years ago, like 10 years ago, and I just caught, I looked up from the TV. I was doing something at my desk, and I saw this picture of him being interviewed. And he started laughing like only a true sadistic murderer. And I know that look because I was raised by one of them. Yeah, my stepfather and his sick brothers thought because I was like a 7-year-old who was too sensitive and they were afraid I'd be queer, they decided if they killed my pets, it would make me a man. It's funny because I lived through it now and I've gotten through it, but yeah, I've lived through some crap and I don't want to be, oh, poor Frank. I'm not doing that to bond with a wound or anything, but I seen that look, that laughter when I discovered that my dog had been murdered, or, you know, my animals had been killed by these horrible people. And I realized, yeah, and I saw that on, I know that look, and I'm so glad I got through that. It took a lot of courage, and the thing is with sadness, especially that deep, and I'm sure we all have something similar, or the lucky ones do, because that's where you grow. I look back, I'm not condoning what happened to me, but I wouldn't be developed my gift if I hadn't gone through that ordeal. Yeah, human beings have the potential for the worst, or being a superhuman. There's far more saints in heaven than the ones you think about. Saints and sinners that keep on trying. Okay, so let's see what's going on with this wonder. Yeah, be happy, joyful, joyful, joyful. Uh, no, I'm laughing because, as I said, even just a few years ago, that would have sent me into a real, but, I've really done a lot of work. As I said, a lot of people want to push the sadness away or use drugs to numb it or alcohol or something. When actually the best thing you could do is summon the courage. Remember, close your eyes, summon your strength, believe, and work with your angels and allow yourself to take it really deep inside of you and realize that now you will always be that wonderful person. I mean, just on the way here today, I was telling Denise this morning, my friend will be here soon to do her show. I said, well, I fell in love with 3 dogs on the way here, 3 different dogs. I mean, just walking down Market Street or wherever I am, walk around in my building, and there's this little park, and I just, I just love cats, dogs, any living thing, I love spiders. Oh, you stop killing bugs. We need insects. Man, we need some knowledge. Every generation, has got to get knowledge. Okay, so let me see what my viewers now. I'm grounded and centered. Let's see what my viewers need to know about the results of this election 2018, Election Day 2018, which is all about getting, getting Donald Trump in prison where he can't hurt anybody anymore, where he belongs with that whole clan of his. Okay, let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got. Yeah, it's kind of pathetic. It is pathetic, not kind of pathetic, It's like, and not people my age. There used to be a cartoon called Baby Huey. Even Baby Huey wasn't evil. Okay, about Election Day for the United States of America, Election Day 2018, Election Day, post-election day. What are we going to... Oh, yeah, the day after, we're going to see... Mueller is going to come out. Oh, Mueller's got it all together now. He's just been biding his time, waiting for this very moment to arrive. We were all just waiting for this moment to arrive. Well, I'm not going to be able to sleep Tuesday night, Election Day, because, yeah, since the day... the worst... As a psychic, the worst experience I had was the morning of 9/11. I was watching TV, having my coffee, and playing with my critters, and I saw the towers come down, and then I saw the whole thing, and I realized, oh my God, I saw exactly this decade, almost 2 decades now of all the. Yeah, I saw the whole thing coming. Yeah, I think that was the worst. It knocked me down in my chair. My jaw dropped, and then the lies, and then of course President Obama took office, and the first thing he said was, by pursuing war crimes, it would only separate the country. Isn't that ironic? Because he was either totally ignorant. I'm not gonna bash Obama, but I wish he would at least apologize or take some responsibility for not doing the right thing. Because all the law professors in the best schools were all saying our democracy depended on the Obama administration, but getting after these people for war crimes, and he shined it on. So what do you expect? What do you expect? But now, as I said, I don't think anybody except myself is saying this, but it's true. Look it up. It's on the computer. Why didn't President Obama in his first few months of as president, pursue, and you'll see he had that horrible Rahm Emanuel. Rahm Emanuel was just as evil as Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Whenever anybody from the press asked questions about why aren't you pursuing, war crimes against Bush Cheney for this and all the rest of them, he would say, "What are you, stupid? Don't you understand we're past this now?" He was a nasty kind. He was a nasty SOB. So, but anyway, I don't dance around wounds. If you pick that up, and people say, "Yeah, how could you? Your show's gotten more political than spiritual." How do you cubbyhole this? How do you say this part of my life is spiritual? That's why it's easy to eat the meat, get the pork chops down. If you could separate, murder, meat is murder. If you could separate cruelty. By the way, there's an initiate. I hate the ads because I think they're showing you pigs and cattle being tortured. But I hope it passes in in California, that humane way of treating our animals. You can't judge a society by how we treat the rich. It's how do you deal with the pictures Norman Rockwell forgot to paint. Let's see what we have here now. Okay, the Queen of Wands. It's a time to nurture ourselves. The other day when I got that flash, and I saw that flash of Whitey Boulder there, and then I saw Charlie's face, and wow, it knocked me for a loop. But thank God I had the wherewithal to, just really go with it. I don't know what I did. I did some really heavy reading. And I do what I do, and I slept on it. Sometimes the best thing you could do is take it to bed with you. And work with your guides. Remember, the angels won't help you out unless you ask them to. There's so many unemployed angels, and they just want to help us. But I don't know. I guess we grew up and we forgot to take them with us. I think a lot of us were close to our angels when we were toddlers, and then when that soft spot on our top of our head got hard and our skull formed, and we became egos, started to grow. And then you start reach a point where you start transcending your ego. And then you get in touch with your angels again. So this is time to heal ourselves now. Just petting a cat or a dog lowers your blood pressure. There used to be a service where they would bring animals like dogs to hospitals. I don't know if they still do that, but I wish they would. I know they still bring out hospices. I've been in enough hospices. I know that they have resident cats that live there. And those cats know who's going to die, It's amazing. I could tell you a lot of stories about that. Okay, it's time for us all to utilize the dream state. Here we have the powerful 8 of cups. So we cannot, see, cups are emotion. We have to make peace with our emotions and not take them up to these mountains of attainment. When we go to sleep at night, use your throat chakra and say these words: I release this day. I'm surrounded by the love and light of the Holy Spirit, and I'm asking. See, God, Buddha, Jesus is a guide. Jesus is a guide, a powerful guide. So is Buddha, Krishna. There's many, many, many guides. And any religion, if it's followed, is just to point, if it's done right, is to point the way. But of course, we eat the menu instead of the meal, and we read the Bible literally instead of the way it's supposed to be read. But if you're really into that, there's a guy named Kerry Walters. He teaches religion in Gettysburg College, Pennsylvania, actually. Today's a Gettysburg Day. We started out with Abraham Lincoln. Okay, so that's our inner and our outer self. We're ready now to utilize the dream state. Yeah, and then, as I said, when you wake up in the morning, you'll feel like things will work out. So many things we weren't meant to do it alone. So many people are pulling these apple carts all by themselves, and you don't have to do that. So, okay, be congruent. It's all about when you wake up in the morning and you say, I got a little light, I'm going to let it shine. And 2 hours later, you're screaming, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I can't stand it. I can't stand it. No, be congruent. Like America right now is incongruent with its image of what America was founded on, what countless people died for, because of this carpetbagger, this lowlife, vulgar. He's a Russian asset has infiltrated the White House. And now Brazil has got an anti-LGBT fascist president, and so does several other countries. Germany now is becoming right-wing. As I said, we got to nip this in the bud. We haven't had a chance to do this since November election day of 2016. We've been waiting for this day, and now it's finally here. So now Mueller can come out with the secrets. So Mueller came out, everybody knows, well, we had the do-nothing evil Congress we have now. They would do nothing. They would kill it. They would set it on fire and destroy it, and we never know what went on. So it has to. I can't entertain for a second, for one magic moment, that we're going to suffer any the consequences of not having a total blue tsunami are too horrendous to even ponder. I won't even go there. Here's the sun. Beautiful. So this is our past experiences, and be careful what you pray for. Prayers are answered, but very rarely the way we think they're going to be. And this is our expectations now. This is beautiful. The sun. Here comes the sun. Do 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 do. I'm so beautiful. I don't even need clothes. Look, there's a little naked guy on there. I am the sun. I trust life is for me, not against me. It's important now. Remember, you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. This is the work. Protect what's ours. 7 of Wands. There's all the victims there. Protect what's ours. And it's all about loving ourselves now. Unconditional love. Remember, you are so loved. God loves you. Your higher power loves you. The love your higher power, your creator, has for you is inconceivable by our limited human minds, even the ones more advanced. We have the best computers up here. God, a lot of us are opening up. Please, I'm not going to say don't use your devices, but limit yourself. The future now, the results are going to be good. Here's the King of Pentacles. And the final outcome, ta-da! This is a beautiful card. There's the Fool, Major Arcana, 0 karma, and this is gonna be a whole new realm. This is so exciting, and Jupiter and Sag. So enjoy now. Get on the phone. Tell everybody you know. To get involved. There's, especially here in San Francisco, because San Francisco has got we still got the Willie Brown Democratic, Gavin Newsom parade of corruption going on, the big sellout to corporations, tech corps, so remember, the Cancer is the Dharma, what we have to do now. Cancer is all about nurturing. It's cuddly. It wants a safe. The push is towards safe. Like, what are we fighting for? It's not my security. I know people don't remember Marianne Faithfull. What are we fighting for? The war industry. Let's get to the factories that build these bombs. The military should be working on not killing people, but start disassembling nuclear weapons. And we should work on Central America, going down there and helping out, spending a lot of money so people don't hate us. Shit. Oh, excuse me. Oh, my God. Forget. Hey, don't put me on a pedestal, man. I'm going to fall. I'll topple over. Okay, so that's that. And let me see if there's anything else we went through. That book called Everything Trump Touches. If you watch MSNBC and all that, you're not going to learn anything. But the best thing about that was that thing that one of Reagan's speech writers wrote. And thank you for your support and love. And usually in November and December, I only get to do one show because I used to have different times. But now I will be back here again on November. Thursday, the 15th, I will be here, God willing. Mars goes into Pisces. Mars finally leaves Aquarius after 6 months and enters Pisces that day. So yes, remember you have access to what you could do in the dream state. I can't say enough about how powerful we have the opportunity, but you can't go and sleep at night with all the struggles of the day. You got to release the day. We shall be released. Dr. Luther King didn't say we shall be let go. He said we shall be released. Whenever I see somebody on TV or in person, they talk about how they lost weight. I go, oh, don't say lost. Every time you say lose, you trigger fine. So you'll be looking for it again. I release the weight. I no longer need to be buffered from life's experiences. Life is for me, not against me. I trust life. That light at the end of the tunnel is not a train. It is actually a light. So keep on doing your visualizations. Picture Donald Trump and that fashionista daughter of his. Make sure we see her in an orange jumpsuit with a cute little orange purse to go with it. That Nazi, God forgive me. Yeah, I don't like Nazis. I don't like the Russian tyrants. Funny like that, these things where they say pray for these horrible people like Scalise, who votes always against my. No, I'm not gonna. Don't you tell me who to pray for. I'll pray for who I want to pray for. And trust me, these guys they ask you to pray for they got gall asking me to pray for these people who want to kill me. Like they want, or remember in Trump's thing, they said, oh, pray for Trump because it's America. No, no, not on your worst day. I love you. I love you, and thanks for all the support. Open your arms as wide as you can. Don't be afraid to accept God's love for you. Namaste.